Hey, everybody, welcome back. Devin, the OG, the original Grognard, sitting down here at the Grognard's Corner, and I got word from a little birdie that the Kickstarter for Space Infantry Resurgent was going up very, very soon. And I thought, well, you know what? If that's the case, I should probably get a video of gameplay out so people can decide if this is something they want to get into the Kickstarter with. And honestly, I think you want to get into the Kickstarter with this. It's got some really cool stuff in it. As I was going through my unboxing, I was showing the size of the playmats. Yeah, one of the Kickstarters got a much, much bigger map to play on and work through the campaigns with. And there's a bunch of really cool stuff in the Kickstarter. So you should really jump in on the Kickstarter, and it's reasonably priced as far as I remember. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through the playthrough, and we're going to see how this game plays, and this will give you an idea if this is something y'all want to get on your own. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our sequence of play card right here. And we're not doing a campaign. This is just a one-off play. I may do a campaign playthrough, or at least setting up how to do a campaign later. But for right now, we're just going to do an individual mission playthrough, and get your little sequence of cards. And I will like to preface this again. This is a prototype copy. If the Kickstarter is about to go up, then everything is set in it. But since this is the prototype version, excuse me, what you see here may change with the retail and the Kickstarter version. So don't get mad at me if you get the game and something looks different or something's worded differently. It's prototype people. So anyways, so you take your sequence of play card, and we're doing standard play. And if you kind of look, it's the sequence of play cards. It's got your standard play. It's got your combat. It even tells you how to set up your campaign play. The last outpost, which is kind of the best way, like I said, I described that. The last outpost is kind of a tower defense game. And then if you want to do the horde, so yeah, all the different types of gameplays that you want to know, just right here. You just follow the sequence of play. It's really easy. All right, so first one, mission selection. All right, so I went ahead and decided to do mission 2, codenamed Cryptic Axe. Deep range science base was just hit and the nerds packed up and ran. Smart, but the locals are almost as bad as what they ran from. We need to know what brought the enemy here so bring them home. A quick little overview of what is going on. So let's take a look at special rules. Zoom in on the special rules a little bit. Objective, find at least 4 scientists. Yay, always having to save the friggin' scientists. Special rules, high-res scan. When a squad reaches a node with a science symbol, roll a random number. On a 1 through 4, you find 1 scientist. On a 5+, you find 2. Squad may only make 1 check per node per game. Okay, cool. Off-road, your squad is equipped with a Pilum APC for this mission. It may only be used in outdoor missions, so that's cool. I went ahead and pulled out the Pilum AT. No, they call it an ATV on the card, but on the scenario it's called APC. Yeah, same thing. So you get an actual vehicle that's helping your squad out, which is always cool. And there are special event strings of damage. This node string result means the Pilum immediately suffers 1 wound. So that would be your vehicle ends up taking a wound. We'll get into that in a little bit. And so the science nodes, as we're identified, high-res scan when a squad reaches a node with a science symbol. And there's a science symbol right there. So let's take a look at the board. And let's see if we can find some science symbols. Well, there's a science symbol. There's a science symbol. There's a science symbol. And there. Okay, so we got 4 science symbols. So regardless, if we can get this mission done as quick as 2 missions, if we pull the random number 2 nodes, or it may take us all 4 nodes, because you always will find at least a minimum of one scientist, but a maximum of 2. And there's also some local hostiles. So the native inhabitants, probably the big bad that the scientists ran from. So we take a look over this real quick. We've got the 2 shields, so it's got two armor on it, which is going to be a pain in the butt to try to crack through. It's got 4 wounds. Its fire rating is 5. Its melee is a 3 and a 4, so it gets 2 attacks, 1 at a 3 and 1 at a 4. It is a type 3 enemy, so that means it's kind of a big, beefy bad guy. Blind Fury, we're enrolling for range. 0 through 2, it's a fire. 3 plus, it's a melee. So more often than not, you're going to be at melee range with this thing. And nomadic, you only ever fight one of this enemy. So if you ever run into one of that, or if we ever run into one of that as we're playing through, and we kill it, we don't have to worry about running in anymore. So yeah, it's a big, bad, nasty on the planet. Think of it kind of like a big grizzly bear, shark, dragon with teeth and a bad attitude, protecting its area of the hood of its hood, where the scientist kind of pissed it off and decided for it to go on a rampage. Sometimes you got to put a little narrative spin on it just to make things fun and interesting. That's half the fun of gaming. All right, so that's the mission. Selected the mission. Yay! All right, set alert level. Well, we're not running a campaign, and I'm not giving myself more points than we normally have, so we're just going to be at alert level 1. Okay, map creation. Well, this is where the fun begins. So the map creation is the map right here, obviously. Now, it used to be in the first one, each one of these nodes were already pre-designated with what you ran into it. It's not that way anymore. You actually have to now populate the map. And so each map is always going to be random with whatever you run into. Now, right off the bat, we're seeing we've got Mission 2 outdoor cards. So we know that those are for the Mission 2 specific node cards. So we go ahead, we got our whole deck of mission-specific node cards. Let's go ahead and grab all the Mission 2 specific node cards. And since we are working at alert level 1, we got to find all the appropriate alert level 1 cards. So anything that's an alert level 1, if it's a 1 or a 2, that qualifies. 3 does not qualify. 1 or a 2 qualifies. 1 to a 3 qualifies. 1 to a 3 qualifies. 1 to a 3, 1 to a 3, 1 to a 3, 1 to a 3, 1 to a 3. Okay, so basically, it's just this card of the mission-specific cards we're not going to use. So go ahead and put that back in the deck. Now, we go ahead, we take the remaining cards that are specific to the mission and just shuffle them up. And then, just randomly, place them on the specific nodes. Just like so. More over here, like that. We do have leftovers, so there are always going to be extras whenever you're populating the nodes, or at least as far as I've run into, you're always going to have extras. So that even increases the random variability even more, because with more cards than nodes, that just exponentially increases the difference that you're going to be running into. So let's take a look at kind of what we got here with these outdoor cards. So as we were kind of looking at damage, we have a damage string. See right here, for this event, it's a 5+ damage. So if we run into a 5+, if we're doing this event, we roll a 5+, the event string is damage, which means our Pilum is going to suffer 1 wound. And of course, you know, to access the node is going to require a pilot 2. So we've got a 5+ damage with a pilot 2, 5+ damage with a pilot 3, pilot 2. Now, right here, here's something a little bit different for an event string. We've got 5+/S. Well, S is the special, and that is the local hostile. So we move into this node, we do this event, we roll 5+, we're going to run into the big bad, because that's what the special event is. And what do we have over here? 5+ damage, and then a 3+ special right here. All right, so that's the mission specific, but we're not done populating the board yet. We've got a whole bunch of other nodes that don't have anything on it. Oh, you know what? I missed that. Mission 2 outdoor. That's supposed to have an outdoor mission card as well. Because you can tell it's mission specific because it says Mission 2 on it. If it was just blank, like Underground, it would be a generic card. But since it says Mission 2, we have to use one of the Mission 2 specific cards. So let's just go ahead and just draw one randomly. I will say it really doesn't. Is that? Nope, that's not. Yeah, that's mission 2. Yeah, okay. Surprised to see an engineering skill on an outdoor node. For the most part, I don't know why they have us draw for this, because that's our entry location, and the entry location is already considered to have been acquired and the event done for it. So you don't have to roll to enter. You don't have to do a skill check to enter it, and you don't have to roll for the event string because it's the starting location. So why they have you putting a card down, I don't know. It's the way it is. But so you put a card down, but you don't have to worry about the skill level or the event. All right, so that's where the start is. Okay, so now let's go ahead and populate the rest of the deck, rest of the board. So we got underground, 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 underground. Apologize for the glare. Not much I can do about that. All right, so we grab our regular deck of node cards. And as we can see, we've got indoor, we've got outdoor. There's going to be passageway, a lot of outdoor passageway. So, but what we need to do is find the underground. So, space, looking for underground. All right, so underground, and those are all the underground cards. And again, just like the mission-specific node cards, we got to check for alert level since we're playing alert level 1. We've got anything that's 1, so 3, nope. 2, 3, okay, we don't use this one. 1 through 3, we do use this one. 2 or 3, we don't. 2 or 3, no. 1 through 3, 1 through 3, and 1. All right. Hope there's enough cards. Should be enough cards. I need what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Uh-oh. I may not have enough underground cards that are at the right alert level. Yep, I do not have enough underground, but you know what? That's okay. We can make it work anyways. Let's just go ahead and throw a couple of the 2 3s. All right, so again, prototype version. I'm sure that the final version is going to have enough underground cards for it. So I'm just going to grab a couple of these 2 3s and throw them in. So we're going to have a couple nodes that are going to be a little bit harder than the others to do. So. Go ahead and populate the nodes. Okay, so now the board has been populated. Let's take a look at what some of the skills were like. Climb, advance, 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 tracking, scout. All right, so we've got a huge variety of different types of skills that we're going to have to worry about trying to overcome. All right, so map has been populated. Timer setup. Well, that's real easy. We've got the timer sheet right there, and you got the turn marker. You don't move the turn onto the start until you actually do your first move, so you kind of hold it off just a little bit like that. There are some scenarios that you do have less time to complete the mission, so that's what the timer setup is actually in there specifically for. Enemy selection. All right. Huge variety numbers of different types of enemies. And you can randomly choose. You can choose specifically what you want. So, but with this one, I decided to go with the Beastmasters as the enemy. A cult from the outer fringes of the system, these genetic extremists practice mutation and modification to an almost insane degree. Calling themselves Beastmasters, they've launched a series of terror attacks against the inner system with the goal of evolving humanity to their vision of the future. The fact that they're war beasts or the forcibly evolved dissenters from the same cult means they've already gone too far. So, all right, this is the overall master card for the Beastmasters, and I just kind of went over in the unboxing video. The range table, and then the enemy presence table for whatever, encounter type we have. And you go ahead and draw out the Beastmaster cards from the deck from the master deck as well. And so you got, it tells you right here what all the different types are. Type 1, Type 2s, Type 3s. And these are the cards that you use for when you get into an encounter with them. It's like, all right, well, you're facing 3 Type 1s. Well, then you know you're facing 3 Type 1s. And there the stats for them all are right like that. So, go ahead. And you just set those off to the side. So we'll just put them on there like that. Let's see. I also have melee, and pull out the melee and fire. This is just a little marker to indicate what range you're at every time you're in combat. So that's select enemies. Resource or squad selection. So now you've got 110 points to play with to build your squad. Now, you always get a squad leader free right off the bat. He's got no fire and no melee attacks, but he does have 3 skills. He's got command, communications, and intelligence. So that's always good. Plus, we also know we ended up with the Pilum. So they are good. So we're going to get the Pilum as well. Now we've got 110 points to figure out our composition with. So let's take a look. You want to take a look at what skills you're more than likely going to be dealing with. So we got pilot. Got a bunch of pilots. So let's see. What do we have? That's a pilot. I believe, yeah, I think the Pilum is the only one, the only quote unquote character that's got the pilot skill. So I'm not seeing a squad leader, scientist, explorer. So let's take a look at the specialists. I think those are all the specialists. Yeah, those are all my specialists. You've got a number of specialists: scientist, explorer, engineer, technician, demolitionist, medic. And each one of them has their own set of skills. And so you want to try to match up the skills that you're going to be encountering with basically what you've got here. Unfortunately, as we're seeing, there is no piloting. So there is no specialist that gives piloting. So we got to rely on the Pilum ATV or APC, however you want to pronounce it, to get us through the pilotings. All right, so we've got that. So what else have we got? We've got advance. Now, advance is just general infantry skills. All regular general infantry have the advanced skill. So fire team B, advanced, snipers, advanced. Of course, then there's the occasional 0G trooper, anti-vehicle trooper, but most of the infantry that you're going to be picking has got advanced. So we don't need to worry about any specialists with the advanced skill. Let's see, advanced. We got climb. Okay, now we got climb up here, but we are going to have to go through that to get to there. All right, so there's that. So we're going to need someone with a climb. Now, we don't necessarily need someone with a climb. There are ways that we can get around not having the specific skill, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But let's see, what else have we got? Actually, let's see. Climb. And we've got scout, tracking. Okay, well, you know what? That just begs for us to bring the explorer. He's got tracking, scout, and climb. So we're going to grab him. Point cost is up here in the upper left-hand corner. So he's going to cost us 10 of our 110 points. Let's see, what else? We've got an intelligence, but we can rely on our commander for the intelligence because we've got one intelligence node right there. Let's go through and see. Okay, we're not using medic. Medic is an optional rule, so let's go ahead and set the medic to the side. We don't need the demolitionist because his only skills are demolition, security, repair. There are no skills currently on this mission that we have to worry about having that for. The technician, repair, security, and computer. Again, nothing. Yeah, we don't need any of those skills, so we don't need him. Engineer, computer engineering, repair. Scientist, search, science, and computer. Again, both of these guys, there's nothing. This is kind of an outdoorsy underground mission, so our eggheads aren't going to do us any good for it. All right, so Unfortunately, you can only buy one of these. I'd love to buy a second one, because if you have multiple people with the same skill, they can all attempt to roll to get the skill levels. All right, so that's all we've got. We explore. So we've spent 10 points of our 110 points. So that means we have 100 points left to spend. And most of the troops that you're going to be running into are anywhere from 20 to 40 points. Your basic troop types are 20. Your more specific, like a flamer, he's going to be 30. And then your veteran troops, which are indicated by this equal sign here, are going to be 30 to 40 points each. So, what do we want? Okay, so we know that we're going to be running into the Beastmasters, and they look melee heavy. So that means they're going to be wanting to get into melee range. So we're going to want some melee strong troops. Let's take a look through the A-class troops. Nope. Okay. So I think we'll take fire team A and B. I don't know why they call them fire teams when these are actual individual guys. So, but, you know, again, prototype, by the time the final comes out, they may actually have actual names on them, like Sergeant McGillicuddy or something like that. So there's 40 of our points right there. They're fire 3 melee, or fire 4 melee 3 for their skills, and they've got the advanced skill 3. So that's 40 points. We got 60 points left to spend. Let's see, we don't need 0G teams. Flamer, we're going to be in melee. A flamer might not be bad. He's 30 points, but I don't think I want to mess with the flamer rules yet. Oh, okay. You know what? Let's go. Okay, so let's also take assault team. No, actually, we don't want assault team because their melee's 4. I don't want to worry about the melee 4. However, we will take the shotgunners because their melee is a 3/4. So they've got two chances to get success levels, and that's a 30. So that's 70 points. We have 30 points left. You know what? I think I will go with the heavy weapons team. I mean, he sucks in melee. It's a 2, but he's got a fire, or melee 5, but he's got a fire 2. Anti-vehicle 5, not that big a deal, but armor piercing. Enemies may not use armor against fire wounds. Well, we already know the big bad has got armor. In fact, he's got 2 levels of armor. So he's going to help us punch holes in his big armored carapace. And that's what, 100 points I think we've spent so far. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nope, that is 11. It is 110 points on the nose. So let's just go ahead and set up our teams here off to the side so we have them readily available. Like so. I just got everybody off to the side so we can keep track of them, and we can put wounds markers on them, and they're right there available for whatever purposes we may need them for. All right, so that is squad selection. Now, resource selection. All right, you get 8 resource items that you can choose. 8 resource items that you can take with us, and there's a whole bunch of different items that you can take. But for the most part, what we're gonna do is, let's see. Nope, don't want those. Okay, this right here. Probably one of the most important things we want to take. Med kits. So I want to grab 4 med kits because a med kit will cancel 1 wound. So that's 4 free wounds that we can take. So we've got 4 points left. I think I want to grab 2 intel. So these are intel markers. And we'll get into intel in a little bit, what the good thing about intel marker is. And then I think what we're going to do with our last 2 is grab 2 grenades. So, 2 grenades. Right there. All right, so there are our 8 resources. And what you do is you just set them underneath the turn record track. Has got this nice little place right here for squad resources. So you just stick them right in there. You can never have more than 8 resources. Now, as you're going through the game, you will occasionally come across these green nodes that if you check them, if you spend a turn checking for them, you can get more resources. Like a G node will give grenades, there's intelligence, there's a whole variety of different types of ones that will give you a number of resources back if you've used them. Looking at this one real quick, we see there's the grenade resource there. There's a grenade resource here. And this one is an intelligence. Again, sorry for the glare. Intelligence right there. So we can restock ourselves. And if we want to, and you roll randomly if you find the resources, and I'll explore that if we come to it. You can never go over your 8 resource maximum. So if you come into a node, find 3 resources there, but you've got 7, well, you can either drop a couple to pick up the 3 that you want, or just pick up the 1, or mix and match, or however you want. All right, so that is resource selection. All right, now that's the game setup. I mean, honestly, it's taken me, what, 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes to go through setup, but I was explaining it. I was talking through everything. Actual setup itself should probably take you less than 5 minutes. Probably the hardest thing you're going to do is decide what your big bad that you're going to, or your enemy that you're going to be fighting is. So everything's all set. Board's been populated. We've got our resources. We've got our people chosen. So that means we just go right into operations. So the game starts you off. You have your little squad counter right here. Oops. Pretty little squad counter. That's a pretty little squad counter. We like this squad counter. And you put it on the start node, which is labeled on the map, start, and it's usually identified as a green node as well. So you start off right in there. That's where you start off at. Boom. That's that's the beginning of the game. All right, so operations phase. Advance turn. First thing you always do, advance the turn. Now, we are just starting. We've already landed. We've gotten out. All right, so now we advance the turn marker. That's why you always keep the turn. So I always keep the turn marker off the turn track, because you start the game moving your turn marker on to turn 1. So then after that, advanced turn is move squad. All right, so when you're moving your squad, you move from line to line. As long as you have a dotted line, you can move from one node to another. I could not go from here to here because there is no white dotted line, but there is a white dotted line here. So I'm going to attempt to move into this node. Now, you don't move into it unless the node has already been cleared. Or not the node has been, well, technically, yes, the node has been cleared. Now, the way you do that is you have these miscellaneous markers in the game, and they're good markers for whatever purposes you may need. And you just place them to mark that, yes, that node has been successfully moved to. I can move to it in future turns without any issue. But we don't have one of those markers on this node yet. So basically, you just put your squad about halfway through. Now, it says put it halfway through. Part of me kind of wishes there was like a little asterisk or a little circle or a little square just to indicate what the midway point. I mean, it's a visual thing for me. Do I need it? No. But I think it would have been kind of helpful for other people to see, all right, this is just a kind of a holding step as you're trying to get into the next node. But again, I'm sure other people aren't going to need it. Like I said, that's just a little preference of mine. I would have liked to see. Don't need it. So you put it about halfway between the nodes. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to enter this node. Now, to get into this node, we have this skill right here, pilot and 2. So basically, we're looking for pilot skills, And that's the number of successes we need to get to actually successfully get into that node. So basically, we're driving around, we're trying to navigate our way through. It's, it's rocky. We might get it on the first turn, we might not get it on the first turn, but it's representing that it's taking us time to maneuver through. Again, this is where the narrative part comes into play, where you're just making the story up in your mind. It's like, all right, we're piloting, we're driving through, we're outdoors, it's rough, rocky terrain, we're having troubles finding our way there. How quick is it going to take us to get into the node? Well, all right, so we've got the pilot skill, that's the skill level. So we already know that the only quote unquote character in our squad that has the piloting skill is the Pilum ATV. And you see, it's a pilot 3. So, what does that mean? 3, whenever you're doing anything in this game, the numbers on fire, on melee, on skill, what have you, fire 4, melee 3, advance 3, that's the target number you're looking for on the dice roll. So, well, what does that mean? You roll the dice or draw a chit. I'll explain the dice rolling first. You roll a dice for each skill check that you're doing. Again, like I said, there are times when you're going to have several people having the same skill. Each one of them can make an attempt to roll for it. You take the number that you roll, divide it by the skill level, or by the target, or by the, what is that called? Yeah, the skill level. You take the dice roll, divide it by the skill level, and that's the number of successes you get out of it. So basically, if you're rolling against an advance, a 1 or a 2 is not going to give you anything. 3, 4, 5, and you always round down. 3, 4, 5 is going to give you 1 success. A 6 is going to give you 2 successes. So dice roll divided by skill, round down, equals the number of successes you get. Pretty easy. Now that's on the dice roll. They recommend, one of the optional rules is for critical hits and critical failures. And basically you have to roll 2 dice when you're doing that. And it depends on what the colored dice is and what the main dice is, yada, yada. I found that to be a bit too confusing to keep track of because I was playing with it. The dice rolling may work for other people. Just rolling 2 dice for me to try to get one number, and then keeping an eye on the colored dice for critical hits, critical failures, was a little too much for me. However, just like the original game, we've got chit pulls that you can do. And I actually have found that I enjoy doing the chit pulls with this game more than I do rolling the dice. And I'll get to why in a little bit. But basically, there are 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, 3 5s, 3 6s, critical fumble, and a critical hit chit in the chit selection. You put them all into a cup, you draw them randomly, you flop them down, and when you use all the chits up, that's when you put everything back into the cup and start over from fresh. So there are people that don't like the chit pull system like that because it gives a too flat, even spread of numbers. It's not really random. You know that there's 3 1s, 3 2s, 3 3s, 3 4s, 3 5s, 3 6s, a critical hit, critical failure in the chit selection. You roll enough dice, you're going to get it. You should get a relatively even, straight across the board mix of numbers to begin with, little variation. So I don't mind the chit pull that much in this game, and when I get to combat, I'll show you why I prefer the chit pull. So, anyways, we're making a skill check. We know that the Pilum ATV's pilot skill is a 3. So take it. We pull the number. Okay, so we got it. Oh, dude, we missed something. We did miss something. Okay, move your squad. Node resolution. The first thing you do is the command skill check. Your squad leader. You know, the guy who can't shoot and can't fight, but he does have 3 skills. He's got command, communication, and intelligence. Now, a lot of people have thought, well, what good is the squad leader? He's really not doing much. I mean, the one major skill that he has just doesn't seem to help out that much in the game. It actually is pretty flexible with a lot of variations and choices of what you can do with the commander. There's a series of orders under the optional rules that you can use the command points that he generates to do a whole bunch of different stuff. Stealth mode, take cover, gather intel, suppressing fire, withdraw, a whole bunch of cool stuff with the commander to do. So choices. I always like to have choices. So, but every time you go into node resolution, you got to pull a chit for the commander to see if he'll be able to help. Okay, now, two things you can do with the commander when you're going into the node. You can pull his command to have him help the guys who are attempting the skills, or if it's actually a communications or an intelligence node, he can actually roll for skill level or for successes on his own. But since this is a pilot, he doesn't have the pilot skill, we need to use his command skill, and we pulled a 2, so his command skill failed. So we just put the chit that we pulled off to the side. Doesn't matter where, just as long as it's out of the view. So, and we don't repopulate the cup yet. All right, so we didn't get his command point, so we're not going to explain what his command point does yet. So, command skill check, B, squad skill checks, which basically is just the Pilum's ATV. So we know he's got a piloting of 3. Pull it. Oh, 0, critical failure. Well, we know that the critical failure has already come and gone, and at least until we repopulate the cup. Then it's apply skill levels. All right, cool. Well, we had 0 skill levels. We didn't get the 2 skill levels we needed to succeed. That basically ends the turn. Since we haven't moved into the node yet, well, what does that mean? If we failed the node, well, we go back to the previous node that we were at, and that ends the turn. Pretty simple. Now, we move into turn 2. Let's take a look at the card. Event checks. There are no event checks because we didn't successfully move into the node, and the node we moved back into, the one that we came from, the event has already quote unquote happened because that's the starting node. So there is no event checks. So end of turn. All right, fairly easy. Turn 2. So go into turn 2, and you're going to run into this, that sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get yourself into a node because you don't always get the success levels you need. And fortunately, you've got 30 turns to try to complete the mission. Now, this may seem a little bit daunting and at a bit of pain in the butt, but you always have intel markers. You know the resources we selected at the beginning? Intel markers give you 2 free successes whenever you're attempting to try to get into a node. So that's kind of why you always want to have some intelligence markers with you, because there are times that you may come across, for whatever reason, you just missed a skill node that you didn't remember to bring along someone who has that skill. All right, so we're stepping into turn 2. Now, if there was another node that we wanted to try to access instead, because every once in a while we'll come into nodes that have multiple ways out of it, you can try a different node. But at this point, there's only one way we can go. So we're going to go ahead and try to get into that node again, like so. I will say that because we do have the Pilum APC with us, all of our troops can either be in the APC or outside the APC. I think it just makes more sense that we're traversing over rough terrain, that all my troops are in the APC at this point. So, all right, so we're going to try to move into the node. So, command skill check. We see if our commander will give, if he succeeds at his command skill. Oh, it's a plus. That is a critical success. Now, the cool thing about the critical success is if you pull 2 chits and add them together. And that's the number, which this will be really cool. So let's pull 2 chits. Oh, 10. 6 and a 4 is a 10. Well, let's go ahead. Take the squad leader. Now, we got to remember his command skill is a 4. Focus. I don't know why this thing just doesn't want to focus. Anyways, his command skill is a 4. We take the 10 divided by 4, we get 2 point something, whatever, always round down. So it's going to be 2. So he got 2 successes on it. He gets 2 command points. And again, if you're just rolling a normal D6, you're not going to see more then, you know, on a 4, you're not really going to see more than one success. Occasionally, if you're using the optional dice roll, you will find that you'll get 2 successes off of that because you can roll an 8. But we got 2 command points that we can use, and you just go ahead and you place those on the command card, just to remember that he has those 2 successes. So that was our command skill roll. Now we have our squad skill checks. As the Pilum APC again is the only thing with the pilot. Now, if I wanted to, I could take one of the intelligence and burn the intelligence for 2 immediate successes, but I don't want to do that quite yet. So now we pull for the Pilum. His piloting is a 3. Pull, and we got a 4. Okay, so we got a 4 with against the Pilum's piloting a 3. 4 divided by 3 is 1 point something. So that's going to get us 1 success. However, we do have the 2 successes, the 2 command points that the squad leader gives us. We can use these command points to add to whatever number was rolled/pulled for a skill check. So let's go ahead and burn both of these command points, because really, if you don't burn them, you lose them pretty much every turn. So let's go ahead and take that 4 now becomes a 6. Well, we take a look at the piloting skill. 6 divided by 3 is going to be 2. That's 2 successes, which is the number of successes we need to get into the node. So, bam, successful. We got into the node. Yay! Now, what does that mean? We take one of the miscellaneous markers, and it doesn't matter what side it is. If you want it red side up, black side up, whatever your own personal preference is, put it right in there. That means we've successfully accessed that node, and we can move into it in the future with no problem. Cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and go through the turn card some more. Apply skill of event check. Well, we're in a fresh node now that has an event, a possibility of an event that we haven't had happen to us yet, because we haven't got an event marker placed on the card. So we're going to have to do an event check. And the event string is 5/damage. So we do the event check, either rolling a dice or pulling a random number. And we got a 5. Okay, bop. Oh, there we go, 5. So we succeeded, if you want to call it a success, at the event string, which is a 5+. So we got a 5. So that then we have to do what the event effect is, which is damage. And if you remember from the special rules, if you get a damage, the Pilum suffers 1 point of damage. So let's go ahead and take the damage marker and put it on the Pilum. Now, we can't use our armor piercing to protect, or our armor to protect against this. So for whatever reason, while we were driving around, jarring around and bouncing around, we managed to damage the driver sucks. That's all we gotta say. So we damaged the vehicle, so it's a little bit damaged. Now, since we have succeeded, I'm not sure that's the right word we want to say. Since we have fulfilled the requirements for the event check and have done the event, you go ahead and put an event marker on there. So that means next time you come back to the node, you don't have to face the event again. You only face an event once. Now, if for some reason we didn't have the event go off and we were to move through that some other time in the future, we would have to check it again. You only check an event if there is no event counter on the card. If there is, well, you don't have to worry about it. So there we go. That basically is the end of that turn. So now we got to decide. We do have 2 different ways to go, and we're going to have to go both ways eventually anyways, probably, because we've got a science node up here that we need to get to. Or we can continue on, and those are little cave complexes. We got the 2 other cave complexes over here. So I think for the next turn, let's go ahead, advance to turn 3, And then let's try to move. Oh. Okay. We're in the Pilum APC. We decided that all of our troops were driving in the Pilum APC. Now, we can't take the Pilum into indoors. We can only use them in outdoors. So we're going to be going into an underground location, which is obviously not outdoors. So we can't take the APC with us. So we need to dismount all the troops from the APC. And the rules for that say it takes a squad movement. So that's going to take a turn. So we advance it to turn 3, which is, all right, we're in turn 3. For our movement, we dismount our troops. Bam. All right, they're out of the APC. Now we don't have to check for we're not doing any skill tests because we're not moving anywhere. Our movement is dismounting from the APC, not moving into the node. There, we don't have to check for the event because we've already encountered the event. Bam. Turn's done. Our troops are dismounted. There really is no counter for mounted or dismounted on the Pilum. You just kind of have to remember it. So, turn's done. Move on to turn 4. Boom. All right, now move squad. All right, so we're going to attempt to try to move into this underground cavern. And the skill that we're looking at is an advance 3. Well, we got a bunch of advances. We've got 3 guys with the advanced skill. Those are basic troops. Advance 3, advance 3, advance 4. Now I'm going to show you why. Okay. Now I'm going to show you kind of why I like the chit pull over the dice pull. Okay, so since we're attempting to get into the node, let's go ahead and roll for our commander skill. Always got to remember to do that. 4. His command skill is a 4, so that's going to give him 1 command point. So we'll go ahead and put the command point on his card just to remind us he has 1 point that he can give the troops. Now again, had it been a communications or an intelligence check, we could have used it as a skill test rather than just to generate command points. Wasn't communications, wasn't intelligence, so we didn't have to worry about it. Now we've got 3 guys with the advanced skill, so let's check to see. Let's just draw it and just put down 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're getting rid of some low numbers. Now, this is kind of the reason why I like using the chit pull system. Because were I rolling dice, I would have to try to remember what I rolled for the first one, the second one, the third, or if I was just rolling dice, just set the dice on there actually as it were. Why is this important? Well, we've got a command point here that we got to spend. Well, we don't have to. We can spend it. So let's take a look. Because remember, this gives +1 to the dice roll or the chit pull. So the advance, okay, these two, a 1 with a target number of 3 and 1 with a target number of 4, basically, those aren't going to do anything for us. We would have to have like 3 successes, 2 or 3 command points to spend to get that. However, this guy right here got the 5 with an advance of 3. We give him the command point, which turns that into a 6. 6 divided by a skill level of 3 is 2. Now, it's not enough for us to get into the node, but any successes that we get stay on the node for further attempts in the future. That's why we have all these little green numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or I think they go up to 3. So we weren't able to get in the node. We didn't get enough successes, but we did get 2 successes. And since we didn't get into the node, we go back to the node we came from. We don't have to check the event string because the event string has already been done. So bam, that's the end of the turn. And we almost got through. And it's not so much that we're being forced back into this into the previous node. It's just taking us a long time to advance through this node. Don't think of it as being forced back. It's just think of it as the time that takes to try to traverse a node. But for gameplay purposes, you move back to the previous node. So we'll go on to the next turn. Turn 5. Again, what do we want to do? Squad movement. Well, we could move down here. Well, we don't really want to do that. We could remount the APC. Again, we don't want to do that. We want to continue trying to get through that node. So we attempt to go through that node again. Again, rinse, wash, repeat. Skill level of the commander. Squad command level 6. 6 divided by his skill level of 4 gives us 1 command point. Put the command point on his card. So we've got the command point there. And now we're still looking at the node is still an advance of 3. So again, we got 3 guys. 1, 2, 3. All right, so we're looking for 1 success. We got a 2 here, a 3 here, and a 3 here. This one, 3 divided by 3, is going to give us our 1. So that's going to be our 1 skill right now. If we wanted to, we could take our 1 command point and add 1 point to either this guy or this guy, which would give us another success level, but we really don't need to do that because we just needed 1 success to get to the 3 successes that were needed for this node. So, all right, bam, we completed it. We're in. Yay! We've advanced into the cave network. And since we've advanced there, we place one of our little markers like that there. So we're in here now. Check for events. So we look at the event string. 4 plus. So we got a 4 plus. Uh-oh, 6. So we succeeded hitting the event string on that one. Again, I don't know if you'd want to call it a success, but we completed the string. 4 plus. We hit the string, or we hit the parameters. Now we have to look at the event. Event A. So that means we are going to be facing Class A beasties. Now, what does that mean? We take a look at our Beastmaster card, and we have Class A beasties right there. And then we have a column for Class B and for Class C. Obviously, the higher classes are the more difficult ones. So we're facing Class A column. Now we have to roll or draw a random number to see specifically what we're running into. And we pull a 3. So let's take a look on the card. 3 under Class A is 2 war beasts. All right, so we're facing 2 war beasts. So we go through and we find war beast, war beast. So there's the 2 war beasts. And we just set these off to the side somewhere where we can keep track of them. Right, like so. Now, we are in combat. So the first thing you do is command skill check. Always, always, always with the command skill checks. So remember, command skill check is a 4. It's a 5, so we're going to get 5 divided by 4 is 1 point something. Round down to a 1. So the squad leader is going to get a command point. And we put that on there like so. Now, there's a whole bunch of different things we can do with that command point. And I think we can spend it right now if we want to on a whole bunch of really cool stuff. Yeah, we can attempt to, well, regroup 0, support, ambush. Ambush is the one you're probably going to do a lot during the first round of combat. You spend 1 intelligence to gain the ambush tactical advantage, or 1 command point. You could spend an intel marker as well to gain ambush, but you know, if you got it from your commander, then use your commander. Intensify, deploy, embark, disembark, all that good stuff. However, those are optional rules, so we're not going to be using those. But if I wanted to, I could spend the command point for an ambush. All right, so we know the commander has 1 command point. So let's take a look at the combat range determination. What range are we starting off at? Again, this is specific to each beastie faction. And what column do we use is set, which is the first, what we set the first round at. So we pull a number. What do we get? We get a 1. And a 1 is at the fire mode, or at fire range. So that means we caught them at range. We spotted them long ways off. They didn't get a chance to get in close enough to us. So we take our fire melee marker and we just put it right there like that, or someplace convenient so we know. I mean, if you wanted to, you could put it on them. It doesn't matter. It's just a convenient way to indicate we're at the fire range. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means what skills we're going to be looking at on our cards. So we're going to be at the fire range. We're going to be looking at a target number of 4. Target number is not the right number. I should be using the actual terminology because I'm sure people are going to be reading the rules and watching it. I'm so confused at what he's talking about. I hope I'm getting across what I'm supposed to be saying as opposed to what I'm not saying. But anyways, all right, so first round of combat. Combat is all simultaneous. All right, so first of all, we know we can't use the Pilum APC because it's outside right now. So we don't have to worry about that. The squad leader has no fire or melee skills. Specialists, explorer, scientist, technician, whatever, we can only use them if there are more than 3 bad guys or less than 3 of our own good guys. So they're not supposed to be getting in combat. So they stay kind of at the back when the shooting starts, unless things are really, really bad. So let's look at what we have, though. We do have 4 guys that are going to be able to shoot. So, and we're actually just down to 1 counter in our cup. So let's go ahead and pull 1. Okay, so that's going to be a 2 right there. So now, since we've ran out of counters, we basically grab all the counters we've used and put them right back into our cup, refilling the cup. Shake up the cup. And let's draw for the rest of our guys. Uh-oh, not looking good for us for shooting. Oh, that's actually pretty good. And as I said, since combat is simultaneous, since neither one of us ambushed the other, we go ahead and pull numbers for them as well. All right, so let's take a look at wounds. We're at fire range. Fire team A has got a fire of 4, but that's a 2. Fire 4, but that's a 2. The shotgunner is a fire 5, 0. The heavy weapons, however, has got a fire of 2 with a 6. So that's going to give us 3 wounds, or that's 3 successes, which is going to translate to 3 wounds. So let's just take the wounds and set them off to the side. Now, I do have the command point, but spending the command point's not really going to help me at this point. It's not going to get me another wound mark or anything. I can save these command points. You don't have to spend them right away. So that's what that was. So let's go ahead and put these off to the side. Now let's also see, again, since combat is simultaneous, let's see what the bad guys did. 5 to a 4, that's going to be 1 success. 3 to a 4 is going to be no successes. So the bad guys managed to acquire 1 wound as well. Now, when you're applying wounds, all the bad guys have to get at least 1 wound before you start stacking up more than 1 wound. And you can never have more than 50% of the damage on a single target in 1 turn. So we've placed 2. We've got a 3rd wound that we still need to put out there. So let's just go ahead and drop it on him. It really doesn't matter. Were there different infantry types? Then yeah, we'd want to try to put up different, put it on the more powerful bad guys that we run into. Now, the bad guys inflicted 1 wound on us, and we can assign that however we want. Well, of course, we can't assign it to the Pilum because the Pilum is indoors with us. But we've got 4 regular squad members, Explorer, the squad leader. Now, if you look, the Explorer's only got 1 hit point. The squad leader, he's only got 1 hit point. Everybody else has got 2 hit points. So what I'm going to do is, since we took a wound, I'm going to burn a med kit immediately to heal that 1 wound. So in a sense, I don't take any wounds. However, I am now down to 3 med kits. So that's a round of combat. And combat takes place in a turn. If you go multiple rounds of combat, it's not going to chew up your turn record track. It's all considered in 1 turn. So, again, you go back to the top of the round. Command skill check. Take his check. He's a 1 versus a command skill of 4 is going to be nothing. Then, determine range. And we got a 4. Now, what does that mean? The bad guys may move in closer, they move further away, whatever. We are currently at fire range, and a 4 means they move up into melee range. You do that every turn. So they are now in melee range, which is a little bit better for me because I got slightly better skills at melee, plus, I do have grenades. Grenades are really cool because if you're in melee range, you can pop a grenade and you'll do D6 or a random number of wounds to the opponent. I don't think we need to pop a grenade yet. We only need to get 3 wounds on them to wipe them out, and I've got a lot of firepower at melee range. So let's go ahead and just pull out 4. Ooh, critical 1 and a 3. Let's pull out the 2 chits for the critical. Ooh, 9. Ouch, big amount. And let's pull for the baddies. 5 and 2. All right, so let's take a look at what we got. We got 4. Now this, and again, this is why I like pulling the chits, because it lets me see, as I put the chit counters down, it allows me to see where I need to spend my command point. If I was just rolling dice, I'd have to try to remember, all right, what did the first guy get? What did the second guy get? What did the third guy get? It's just easier for me to do it this way. All right, so this, okay, so we got 1 success here, which is going to translate into 1 wound. We got 9 divided by 3, which is going to be 3 more wounds. And the cool thing is there are wound markers. There's 2 wound markers, 1 wound marker, 2 wound markers, and there are 3 wound markers. I just don't want to dig through it right now. 4 divided by 1, not going to be anything. 3 divided by 5, or 5 divided by 3, not going to be anything. So we're going to generate 4 wounds. There's no really reason for me to spend the command point. First of all, the command point wouldn't have done anything. It only gives you a +1. A +1 wouldn't have generated me any extra wounds. And I'm already generating 4 wounds as it is, which is enough to kill the bad guys off. Now, the bad guys, we got to look to see how many wounds they generate. 5 divided by 4 is going to be 1. 2 divided by 4 is going to be nothing. So they incur or generate 1 wound as well. Just put that off to the side, like so. Now, allocating wounds. Well, I'm doing 4 wounds. They can only take 3 wounds. Pulse rifles, 10mm pulse rifles at point blank range. Tore them up, killed them all. Yeah, bad sound effects. But we still have 1 point of damage that we need to put on us. And I'm going to go ahead and take a med kit, burn the med kit, to negate that wound as well. Now you can use the med kits to negate wounds, even fatal wounds, at the point of impact, for lack of a better word. All right, so combat is done. The event has been encountered and completed, and so we're going to go ahead and put event completed marker on it, like so. Turn's done. On to turn 6. Move the turn marker up, move to the next node that we're going to try. It's a climb 2. We look over our skills. The only climb we've got is our explorer. He's got a climb 4. So let's go with our squad leader first for his command check. 6 divided by 4 is going to give us 1. He's got 1 command point. And let's check for the explorer to climb. He's got a 1. I could spend the 1 command point, but that would bring it up to a 2, which isn't gonna get us what we need to get a success level. We failed, so we are technically not in the node. We get pushed back to the previous node. Turn over, restart again. Turn 7. Continue again. This time, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna burn an intel. I'm going to burn one of my intels to give me two success levels, which is going to be enough for me to succeed the skill 2 check. Now, occasionally you're going to come across a skill that'll have a little asterisk by it. You can't use intelligence reports on that. I think it's like demolition skills and a couple other skills maybe that you can't use intel reports on. But basically, for whatever reason, our intel was we had maps of the area that were sent to us by the nerds beforehand, and so we knew how to navigate these tricky passageways, and we're able to find an easier way to climb down, and that lets us get into the node. And since we entered the node, we put a completion marker on it. Now it's a 6A for the event string, so let's pull. It's a 4, no event. Now, we did not complete the event, so we don't put an event complete marker down. We just didn't activate the event. So if we go through here again, there's a chance we're going to trip that in the future. So, but we also have, this is a resource node for G, for grenades. Now, let me check the rules real quick, because I think it takes a turn Resources. Resource caches. That's the official rules for them. Represent locations where you gain more resources up to a maximum of 8. The letter in the icon defines the type of resource that is available in the cache. Yada yada yada. After the operations phase, if your squad is located in the node on a node that includes a resource cache, roll a random number and apply a -1 modifier to the result. Result is the amount of resources that are found at that node. Remember, you may only gain the type of resources that are available at a particular node, which is identified by the letter in the icon, and there's a chart here. So, all right, so we're in a resource node. Doesn't take us anything to do it. We're in the node. We can just check anyways. So we're going to pull. I've got it in my hand. That's our last chit. So we've got a 5 - 1, 4. So there's 4 grenades there. Well, that's kind of cool, but I've only got 5 slots. So if I wanted to, I could pick up 3 grenades. And you know what? Well, I could also pick up smoke grenades, but I'm not going to. No, why would I worry about smoke grenades when I just want to kill stuff? I'm sure tactically there's times where you're going to want to have smoke grenades. But you know what? Now, what the scientists were doing with a cache of high explosive grenades here, I'm not really sure about. But, you know, whatever. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I could have had 4. I could have grabbed 4 grenades because that's what I pulled for the random number, but I only had 3 spots. Now, if I wanted to, I could have dropped one of the med kits or the intel to pick up the 4th grenade. I don't think I want to do that. I just doesn't make... Intel and med kits are like God. Those are what you need. Those are important. All right, so turn's done. That's the turn. Turn 8. Getting a little bit concerned. We're starting to run out of time here. All right, so the next one, we go ahead and move. Our cup has been refilled because we went through everything. Attempting to get into the node. Pull the command chit for the commander. 6. All right, so he's going to have 1 command point. Put the command point on his card. You don't have to put the command point on the card if you want to just remember. I personally would put the command point on the card because, hey, you know, I forget things often. All right, so now this is a tough one. This is an advance 4. So we need 4 successes with advance. We've got 3 guys with the advance skill. So let's, and those are my squad mates over there, except for the heavy weapons team. Heavy weapons doesn't have the advanced skill, but he's got anti-vehicular, which is just as cool. All right, bad rolls. Nope. Okay, so we will spend a command point on Fire Team B to bring it from a 2 to a 3, which is going to give us 1 success. The other 2 rolls aren't going to do much of anything for us. So we got 1 success. And so we'll put 1 success there. We go back to the node. Now, since we're back at the previous node, or technically not back at the previous node, still in that node trying to gain access to this node, we could run into an event because the event chit is not there. So let's go ahead and pull. It's a 6. It's a 6, of course. So, well, it's a good thing we're not going to worry about the events there anymore. So it's a 6 plus A. So we're getting into combat again. Again, we look at the chart. It's a Class A encounter. We draw a 4. A 4 is going to be 3 war beasts. So we pull out 3 war beasts. Set them to the side where we can see them relatively easy, like so. Always, first thing, command skill check. Now remember, the command skill checks go away at the end of every turn. So it's not like you can really start piling a whole bunch of them on. You roll at the start of combat, you roll at the start of a node, and if you don't use them at that, then they just kind of disappear. So it's kind of a use them or lose them in that situation. So our command check is going to be a 5. 5 divided by 4 is going to be a 1. So we get 1 command point. So our squad leader is going to have 1 command point going into this combat. Now, why do you roll command before you roll range? Because you can use the command point, if you're using the optional rules, right here, to set up an ambush. And then I think there is another one where you can set the range. I may be wrong on that. But if you wanted to ambush at this point, you could. I'm not going to ambush. Not going to ambush. Well, I'm not using the option rules anyway, so couldn't use it to do that anyways. But that does give me a +1 on one of my dice rolls in the future. Now we roll for range, or pull a chit for range. We're setting the initial. It's a 3. 3 is going to be at melee range. Oh, these guys were a little bit more quiet. They probably heard us fighting their buddies earlier, so they're kind of been stealthy and sneaking up on us. Maybe they saw us trying to climb down the walls, and they were able to move themselves into position where they're in melee range. Well, you know what? I'm going to start off right from the get-go, and since we're in melee range, I'm going to pop a grenade. Just going to do... I got plenty of grenades. Let's pop the grenade. What happens when you pop the grenade? Oh, critical. Oh, that's going to be so cool. So I got a critical with it. So I pull 2 more. Add them together. That's just 7 wounds. That is 7 wounds right off the top. I'm not going to pull out that many wound counters. I'm just going to set 7. 3, 6. Yeah, that's. I probably should have ambushed them. Because if you ambush them, casualties take place first. But, oh well. C'est la vie. All right, so I pop the grenade. That's just spending a resource. It doesn't take one of our guys to do it. You know, whatever, what have you. Doesn't cost anything. You just do it. So now let's go ahead and pull chits for our people. And pull chits for the bad guys. And take a look at what we got. 6 divided by 3. That's going to be 2 more wounds. 1, that's not going to be anything. 5 divided by 4, that's going to be 1 wound level. 3 divided... Oh, no, I actually did that wrong. The shotgunner should have gotten 2. Well, well, I've already got 7, 8. Now I've got enough wounds. I don't really need to... See, since the shotgunner has a 3/4, you actually pull 2 numbers, one with the target number 4, target number 3. Heavy weapons doesn't get anything. Even adding the command point won't do anything for it. So... messed up a little bit because I forgot the shotgunner has the 2 stats at melee, which is why I brought him in, because I knew the Beastmasters like to get at close range. So 7, 8, yeah, we got 10 wounds that we generated. We know they've only got 9 wounds that they can take anyways. So War Beastmaster, 1 divided by 4, nothing. 0 divided by 4, nothing. 4 divided by 4 is going to be a 1. So they are going to inflict 1 wound on us. And as before, I'm going to go ahead and burn my 1 med kit to keep that wound from really affecting me, and in combination with the grenade and a bunch of shotguns to the face, and oh sure, let's give these guys chain swords like the Lancers from Gears of War. They've got swords on their guns. It's the coolest thing ever, which is less cooler than chain swords. But yeah, so boom, blada. So bam, 1 round of combat, all done. We're doing relatively good so far. I haven't taken many real casualties. And what wounds we've had, we've been able to bleed off with the med kits. So that's going to be the end of the turn. Again, trying to get into this node again. Advance the turn marker. Move the squad. The command point that the squad leader did have for the combat goes away. Command at the beginning. Draw a squad. The squad commander, 4 divided by 4 is 1, which is going to give him a command point. And we've got 1 number left in our cup. So we've got 3 guys trying the skill. Advanced skill. So throw that out there. Repopulate our cup. And draw for the other 2 guys. Ooh, this looks like it's pretty good. Okay, so we've already got 1 skill that we succeeded from last time, so we need 3 more. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. That gives us our 3 skill levels. 4 divided by 2 does nothing, and the command point really wouldn't have helped us in any way, shape, or form. However, that did give us 3 success levels. Yay! 3 success levels, which is plus the 1 we had before, which gives us our 4 success levels. And just let's make sure so I'm not an idiot. And since we encountered the event in the previous node, put the event chit there. We're able to move into the node. Yay. So now I'm not really sure on the timing of this, if it's event first or node first, because it is a science symbol and we do the high-res scan. We're looking for the scientist. I think, and the way I'm going to play it temporarily, is that it's node string first. So it's a 6+ for a B. Whew, 5, good. I did not want to face a B event. So no event, the event string was not triggered. However, now we get to roll to see the high-res scan to see if we can find any scientists. We're going to find at least one. We might find 2. So let's go with the random number. 1. So on a 1 to 4, you find 1 scientist. On a 5+, you find 2. All right, so we found 1 scientist. And so let's just go ahead and take, our one little marker. And we're going to tell him, get back to the Pilum APC, whatever, he's going to be there, yada, yada, yada. That we found one of the scientists so far. Now, turns over. We succeeded in getting to, let me find one of the markers. Now, we can't magically teleport back to the APC. We actually have to spend our turns moving through. Now, there is a little bit of an optional rule that I do kind of like to play with, that if you're moving through a node that you've already explored, you pull or you roll dice, chit, whatever you want to, however your preferred method of playing is. You either run into another event on a critical failure, i.e. a 0, or you move through the node and it doesn't take any time on a 6+. So, procedurally, let's go ahead and do this procedurally. Turn 10, we're going to be moving back to this node. Now, let's pull to see how our ease of movement through it. It's a 3, it's not a 0, it's not a critical hit, it's not a critical failure. So, boom. And since the event string has already been occurred, we don't have to worry about rolling it again. Next turn, advance the turn marker to 11. Move to the next node. Let's see our ease of passage on this one. 6. All right, so pulling that 6 means that we were able to get through the node really, really easy. And what does that mean? That allows us to take 1 time unit, or take the turn track and move it back 1 space. We were able to move through it so quick. Didn't take us any time to get through it. So now we're going to turn 11 again, and this time we're going to be moving over here. Again, we don't have to do the skill test because we've already successfully navigated the node. Ease of passage, 4, doesn't do anything for us. And so there we go. That, so far, is us rescuing one of the scientists. We still have 3 more scientists to rescue. A long way to go and a short time to get there. We're going to have to continue this in part 2. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. I'll see everybody next time. See ya!